Hi, this is Kristen here. Welcome to another process video, and today I am working on 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life. This is series 19, and I am working on the first sketch, which is kind of a grid layout. This is by Sarah Christensen, and I will include the information down below. There will be a playlist for others who are following along on YouTube. There's also a Facebook group, so I'll include all that information down below so that you can go check out what other people are making. So I decided to get into my Flower Emporium, and this came in the paper pad, and I thought instead of doing square grids, let's do circle grids. So I go ahead and fussy cut out all of these circles, and then I'm going to edge distress them. And then I picked out another paper that was in the paper pad. It's kind of like a light blue with some kind of mixed media look to it. It's got some writing and things like that. And so I'm just going through. It looked to me like in the sketch there were 4 pictures, I believe in the same spots where I've got my current pictures. And then I'm just going to go through all of my Flower Emporium ephemera, which is a ton. So I feel like when I've got a lot of options, sometimes it's hard to like finish a layout because I'm like trying to go through and just make sure I'm picking everything like, you know, that I would for sure want on a layout. So I do pick out these chipboard frames, and then I'm just gonna go through my my collection here, pick out some florals, titles, pieces like that. So I do pull in some laser cut pieces. I don't believe that maybe this does stay on there, this little ribbon piece, but that was from the die cut. So the pictures I'm documenting are of my daughter around Easter time. So she was not quite a year old in these pictures. And then these little, they were almost kind of like tags that kind of like looked like they had color swatches on them. So I'm going to put one behind each picture. I will switch out, I believe I switch out the bottom one with a different color because the one on the bottom and the top kind of closely resembled the same color. So here's when I'm going to start pulling in some floral pieces. I actually bought two packs of the floral pieces in this collection just because I felt like really the florals could work with a lot of different collections, and definitely work with pretty much any Vicki Boutin stuff you have. I feel like a lot of her stuff is can be used together, and I think she does that intentionally, so then that way, you know, if you're piecing collections together or you're kind of running out of one, you can use her stuff on a different collection and make it work. So I feel like she's very practical that way. I end up pulling off this Delight, and then the little piece that I put there says "You Make Me Happy," so that'll be my title. But that's one thing I really like about Vicki Boutin stuff is she really I feel like has like a wide variety of pieces in her collection. Like I feel like it, you know, a lot of her stuff could be for any kind of style of scrapbooking because there's so much variation in what she puts out, but the color tones typically are pretty similar. You know, you've got pieces that you can use on I really feel like you can use her stuff for more minimal layouts, or you can, you know, go wild and use a lot of her stuff on, you know, if you're kind of somebody that's a maximalist, like I can be pretty often. So again, I'm just going around and adding on different elements from her collection. So everything I'm putting on this page is all from the Flower Emporium line. And I am trying to pull out more of my Vicki Boutin Flower Emporium, Flower Emporium, my mistletoe and memories, which I think I've done one layout with that, and that's it. So I'm going to try to do another one. I'm waiting to receive my Willow Grove, so I definitely will probably be doing a layout with that. But I feel like Vicki Boutin's collections, she's got so much in it, which, I mean, if you've watched her, there was one collection where I think it was when she was revealing the mistletoe memories, she was kind of chuckling because there was so much stuff to it. But I really feel like when she sits down and designs, she really has in mind like what she would do as a scrapbooker and the things that she needs. And so I think she likes to have a lot of variation and a lot of different pieces, and that way you've got, it kind of fits all styles of scrapbooking. But I don't know, I think anything 49 and Market puts out by anybody, I've loved all of it. Like, it just is good quality. So it's hard not to order everything they put out. And I've been doing that. So then, then it's like, then I have an overabundance of things, and sometimes it takes me a while to get through a layout just because I have so many choices. Sometimes it's kind of hard to pick and choose because there's so much stuff you do like, but I've been trying to typically stick with my first choice with things, because I find like I'll switch it out and then I usually will always go back to my first choice. So I'm kind of trying to learn to just trust myself and like not overthink it too much, But I will always try stuff. If there's something that catches my eye, I will always try to put it on my page and just set it there, look at it, and then, if I feel like what I originally had on there caught my eye better, I'll just go back to it. So, and you can see I've got a ton of stuff down there. That's why it's I feel like a lot of time my videos are short because it's like I cut out a lot of me going through the items. But with this, there for a while I was doing where I was like showing me gluing stuff down, but now I'm just kind of showing my process with like where I'm putting things, my mindset, and then cutting away and gluing it off screen because the gluing part can be kind of boring. So, and these are die cut pieces. I don't know if those came in the flower pack. I mean, it's kind of like they're grouped there like they did, so I'm guessing they probably did. So I decided that Hey There and then With Love kind of looked cute just to kind of finish out those frames. I didn't want too much there because I obviously don't want to take away from the pictures. And I was trying to do just some small clusters because on top of that, I really like the circles and the artwork in the circles, so I didn't want to, cover those up too much. Or at least let some of it kind of shine through. And that particular paper pad had 2 sheets to each design. So if there was something on the back of this that you saw that you liked, or if you wanted to use this again, just in a different manner, you've got 2 pieces of paper that you can choose from. So you're not having to pick one over the other, which is really nice too. I find sometimes, especially when I was like new to scrapbooking, and I would have such a hard time choosing which side on a double-sided paper to use. And I was like, why do they make them double-sided? Like, it's so silly, because then a lot of time, like, they'll put, a favorite paper on the other side, and then you got to buy 2. So maybe that's why they do it. I don't know. But, so anyways, I've kind of started to, as I've matured, just go with my instinct. And I think some of it too was a hoarding tendency back in the day, was, because scrapbooking stuff's expensive. I think I would have kind of hoarded a little bit, thinking, oh, well, maybe this paper will be better later on. I'll find something better to use it for. And so I found myself being kind of like paralyzed by that. And now it's like if I see a paper and it works with the pictures and the ephemera, or if I'm working with a sketch, like I just go for it. I just, I'm like, if anything, I can just get on and buy another sheet if I'm really just itching to have another sheet. So you see I've pulled in a couple little other wordy bits down there on the top left and the bottom right. I do end up replacing those. And then those little circle pieces you saw me pull in, those are actually vellum. So here's where I'm going to switch out those word pieces. I decided to kind of go with the Hey There and With Love. I don't recall what those say, and I can't see it on my screen. Stunning and something else. Blossoming. I was totally wrong on stunning. Blossoming, and I don't know what the other one says. And so here is the finished layout. I went ahead and got everything glued off screen. I think it turned out adorable. And Flower Emporium is such a pretty line. I will include the information down below for the playlists, the Facebook group, and all that. So if you want to go check out what others are making, I appreciate you for coming by to watch another process video.